Hey, Mega Moms! Jessica Hensley here with Real Estate Mega Moms, where we help moms create a life and a business that they love. And today I'm joined by Joy Rosek. Is it Rosek or Rosek?
Whatever you want to say.
What is it actually?
It's Rosek,
Ro-
but technically I think it is supposed to be Rosek, but we've never gone by that. So it's just
Okay, Rosek.
Rosek.
Okay. And Joy is in my downline at EXP. She's been part of our group with Real Estate Mega Moms, and she's just a beautiful human being. And I am excited for you to get to hear her story, how she got into the business, and what her business looks like today in an ever-changing market. Well, Joy, it's been a while since you've been on the podcast, so we're just going to assume people don't know your story. So let's kind of start at the beginning. Why don't you tell us where you serve and how long you've been in the business and why you got into the business?
Yes, I am in Arizona, specifically in the West Valley of Phoenix, but I serve the whole valley because I'm from here. So I have my sphere that is mostly in the West Side, but it's all over the place. I'm willing to travel. And I have been in real estate now 4 years. This is year 4.
Okay, so that
Mhm.
means you would have got your license in 2020. So you thought, COVID, this is a great time to get into real estate.
It was crazy. Yeah. I mean, I got licensed. I mean, technically finished schooling at the end of 2019, but then I launched in March of 2020. And then right after that, the whole world ran out of toilet paper. So yeah, what a time to say, hey, come buy a house and we don't have toilet paper.
So were you like, oh crap, what did I do?
Partly, yes, but at the same time, I don't know. I had a weird sense of peace because I finally did it. And I think just accomplishing school and then getting my license and getting established, I thought, okay, well, at least I got that done. Whether someone calls me, I don't know, but at least my first goal was achieved. So it was all
Yeah.
right.
Why don't we go ahead and talk about your background? Like what did you do before real estate?
Yeah. I've always been in somewhat of a hospitality environment. So just when I was 15, I wanted a job so bad at a restaurant near my house. And they're like, no, honey, you need to come back when you're 16. So I've always been really motivated to serve people and just to get out there and be in that busy environment. And then that quickly transitioned into the hotel business. And that grew from being an assistant to being a manager at age 22. And I was responsible for large events, corporate events, nonprofit, military events, things like that. And at the time, I had moved to Virginia because my husband was in the Navy. So he was serving there. And then once he got out of the Navy, we came back to Arizona. And then that's when I got into the wedding business. So I stayed with event management, came here, and they said, Joy, we want you to do weddings. And I said, no, because that's like too much drama for me. I don't know if I can handle the weddings. They said, no, you really need to do this to be a more well-rounded manager. So I did it and I loved it. I love the weddings.
Awesome. So that's the last thing you did before you got into real estate was weddings.
Well, that is very time consuming and required a lot of long hours and a ton of just dedication. So I realized quickly I'm not getting any younger. And my husband and I talked about having a family. I'm like, I can't do this job. I could. I don't want to do this job to pay somebody to raise kids. God willing, I'll be able to have them. Right.
Mhm.
So actually, through a connection at the hotel that I worked for, I met somebody there and got my foot in the door with a local community out here called Verado, which is unlike any other master plan community around here. I mean, the just engagement, the connectivity, the beauty of the neighborhood. It's just everyone knows Verado, everyone loves it. So I was able to go work for the governing entity there and help people volunteer, help them find a sense of purpose in their community, help welcome new neighbors and things like that. And I thought, okay, I can do this and start a family and do both.
Mhm.
And so I did, and they let me take my job part-time, and it was a beautiful experience. I'm really thankful for. So, but real estate was always knocking at the door.
Yeah, I didn't know that part of the story, which so okay, so then let's go to the next part. So how did real estate come about?
So for those who know me very well, know from a young age, I'm just been obsessed with houses, the details, creating a sense of home, having that home base, the architect, just everything about homes I've been obsessed with. We would go and travel to different states and I'd say, can we go drive through that neighborhood really quick? And we would just drive. I go slow, Dad, go slow. And I would just stare at the houses. And then he always worked in homes. Like he was a customer care manager for a builder out here. He used to do paint jobs on the weekends and take me. I could earn some money and I'd help paint and stuff. So I've always been exposed to people in homes and homes. So I've been asked to like, Joy, what's your show? What do you like to do? Like, what's your pastime? I would come home from work and sit on the couch and watch and look at Zillow. I would scroll. I want to see what the houses are selling for. I want to look inside the houses. I want to see how many homes are for sale in different neighborhoods. Yeah, I'm bizarre. I'm like, I need to monetize this.
Yeah. So then so that's why. So you watched it so much that you thought, I might as well just get my license.
Yes, yes, that and there are so many parallels, Jessica, with the wedding industry, the event planning industry, and real estate. Just
Mhm.
so many things involved in terms of, the people, the families, lots of emotion, the uncharted territory, not knowing kind of where to go and how to navigate purchasing a home or planning a wedding. There's just family involved, lots of money, all those things. And I loved being that trustworthy person that they would lean on. Like, here, I'm going to hold your hand. I'm going to walk you and guide you through this. I'm going to help you avoid pitfalls and put you on the right path. And I loved that aspect of the wedding business. And I could see the parallels in real estate as well. Like, hey, I'm going to help you through those big decisions in life that I've spent a lot of time reading about and educating myself. So then I can go and share that with you. And that was part of it, even though I was terrified to start because I didn't know I could do it.
And you did. And so I figured that the experience that you gained from the hospitality to helping with the events, and then I didn't know that part about the community. So
Mhm.
that's perfect. Are you selling in that community that you were
Mhm.
basically a guide to?
Yes, several houses. My very first listing, I mean, there's thousands of houses in that community, and there's maybe 17 that have a basement, which are not very common out here.
Hmm,
And my very first listing was a coworker of mine when I worked there, and he trusted me enough to help him sell his home. And
yeah.
we got under contract in 17 days. That was right when I launched my career that same year, 2020, and got it sold. And it was great. And then I just sold one. We closed on it, I'd say 3.5 weeks ago. And I was able to represent the seller and the buyer. It was crazy. It was beautiful, amazing sellers, amazing buyers. You could not ask for a more perfect transaction on the cutest house in Verrado. So super blessed because that doesn't always happen.
Yeah. So what have you brought with you? What are some key strategies, key um, skill sets, maybe is the right word, that you brought with you from that previous experience into real estate that maybe some agents out there that haven't been in the hospitality industry, like we just wouldn't even think about it or know something that you've brought into the real estate business that has helped you be successful?
Mhm. I am going to take it way back to the basics here. And honestly, it goes all the way to me not knowing what I wanted to do in life and getting a degree in communications. That's like the
Mhm.
default degree that people get when they have no idea what they want to do in life. But that has served me well because, I would say in any profession, but especially real estate, people are uneasy. They don't know what's next. They don't know how to anticipate the next step. So having good, effective, consistent communication is key no matter what, whether things are going well, whether things are not going well, and keeping all parties informed. That was my morning before I went to the gym this morning, was sitting there and emailing title, letting them know that we're not going to close on time. And just FYI, reaching out to the lender to see if they have an estimated new closing date so I can get an addendum done, talking to the buyers, messaging the agent. It's like making sure that everybody's aware that we have a delay and we're not just kind of sitting on it, just keeping everyone apprised of the process. And then also too, another house I have under contract right now, I just simply sent them a text this morning saying, hey, I reached out to the lender, got confirmation. They're going to send a loan status update every Monday. So we'll have an idea of what's going on with the buyers. They're like, great, thanks. Otherwise, if I don't tell them these details, it's like, hey, how are things going? Everything
Mhm.
okay? It makes you wonder. And when there's lack of information, people inherently create their own conclusions and they make
Yeah.
up the rest of the story. And you don't want that. You just don't.
Yeah. So communication was one of the biggest things, and that's so smart. We talk about, clarity as kindness, I think is the term that we use a lot, and on my team, they know, like, part of their job description, it
Mhm.
says, "If our clients have to ask us, then we are not doing our job." And it doesn't mean that we always like, sometimes you're gonna have that client that's just very zealous and maybe
Mhm.
messaging every day even though you've given them lots of updates. But I really try in my listing presentation and my buyer consultations to explain, "Here's when you can expect to hear from us. Here are the key points along the way that where you're gonna get an update," just so they know, and then we try to anticipate, even if it's we have no news, but
Mhm.
we've checked, like you just said, I've sent this to the title, this is what they're working on. You're not really giving them news, you're just letting them know where we're at.
Yeah, status. It's
Mhm.
amazing how often that doesn't happen. As basic and
Mhm.
as expected as it should be, it doesn't always happen, and that can create a little bit of tension, so let's just avoid
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Um, it makes me think about that transition time, so you said a lot of times our clients are uneasy,
Mhm,
and it's something that we forget, especially if you sell a lot of houses, this becomes day in, day out. This is our normal day-to-day job.
mhm,
But if you think about it, most of our clients are going through a significant life change, whether it's getting married, getting divorced, having a baby, becoming an empty nester, or being relocated, like, when you move, it's
mhm,
significant. It's a
mhm.
significant life change, and there's a lot of emotions that go into that more than just, "I have to pack my stuff up." So, how can you speak to that at all? I mean, you mentioned being uneasy. What do you do to put your clients at ease other than the communication that we've touched on?
Yeah, I mean, kind of in line with the communication is just to get ahead of the next step. And we go over it. And they're not going to remember everything, but when you have your initial consultation to really discuss the process, it's nice to know, okay, well, what's next or what could happen here. And I don't want to always plan for disaster, but preparing your clients and setting the proper expectations, there's kind of an art to that. And I don't know, I mean, I'm not saying I've mastered that by any means at all. Um, and some clients are a little more calm about things than others, but I just feel like anticipating the next step. Hey, our next milestone is the appraisal. Now, if it appraises at value, great. This is what we do next. If it does not, then this is how we handle that. Here are the scenarios. And I just kind of give that to them little by little so it's not overwhelming, but just to prepare them for the next step. So I think that really helps to put them at ease. Yeah.
Do you have a template that you're following for these messages, or are you just writing it out every time?
It depends. I mean, I do have kind of a copy paste, but it's just so individualized at times. So I usually customize it a bit. And I find, back in the day, we should not do text messages. It just wasn't good practice or good form. But now we just do it all the time. So I try to be cognizant of that as well. And then at least put something in an email so we have backup. But a lot of people don't check their emails like they check their text messages.
Well,
So,
everything gets buried, and I know for me, if I'm not checking my email every single day, if you emailed me 2 or 3 days ago, it's gone. It's on page 5 of my notifications, I'm not gonna see it, so yeah. So let's talk a little bit about that. I think a lot of the moms that are listening are always interested in the systems that the top producers are using and how you're staying in touch with your past clients, your current clients. So, first of all, I would like you to talk to and speak to how many transactions and how many clients you're working with at any given time. And are you using a transaction coordinator or are you doing that on your own? And if you're doing it all on your own, how are you keeping up with it? 3 questions in one. I like to just hammer.
No, it's good. It's good. But you're catching me. This is real and this is raw. And you are catching me at a point in my career where I have got to figure something out, because if you spoke to me last year to this year, I've doubled my production, maybe even a little
Woo!
more. Yeah, I never anticipated that. But I've been able to handle it all completely by myself, whether that's smart or not. But I didn't know. I didn't expect it to double. And, I've probably had, I'd say, about 5 at any given time at one time in different stages. But again, with that event planning background and managing logistics, I'm able to keep it all figured out. I love SkySlope. I love SkySlope. It's great. We have that with EXP. We can organize all of our files. I know what I have when. We have our checklist and all those things. But I'm at a point now where I have a text message right here, sitting here from a TC that called me saying, "Hey, our mutual friend said you might need some help. Do you want to chat?" So I have an interview set up with her to see how maybe she can help with my business. So I'm there. I'm there in live time, that I need something to kind of help me stay a little more organized,
Nice.
not just my
Well,
spreadsheet.
5 I would say 5 is definitely a good number. If you're doing 5 at a time, that's enough to get some help for sure.
Mhm.
We talk about, like, our role with, the micro team and Real Estate Mega Moms, if you're doing 3 consistently every month, and that means you'll probably have more than 3 active clients at a time because, you know, it might
Mhm.
take 45 days to close or whatever.
Right.
Um, so yeah, I love that, and I do think that you can do it on your own, definitely, but what the trap is, when you do that, you are so concerned with the next step in the transaction that you don't have time to generate new business, and so that's where the people get on the roller coaster of, "Okay,
Mhm.
I'm focusing, I don't want," I wanna provide this wow experience for my client, my active client, and therefore I have no time to prospect and call and.
Yeah. No, it's true. I mean, back just in sales training from being in the event planning business, they would tell you what's the highest and best use of your time. The same principles apply here, as like you're the face of the business. You're the point person, you're the salesperson. You go out there and sell, and you let somebody else service. Well, when I did that position, I was the salesperson and the service manager. I did it all because I loved that. I loved the service side of things. I did not like the sale side of things. But they went hand in hand. And here I am doing literally the same exact thing without an assistant. So yeah, I think it's good to really know kind of your limits and work a little bit smarter and recruit some help. It's worth, paying few $100 or whatever it is to get the support. So I'm there. I'm there.
So your next step, once you hire your transaction coordinator, will be to work on generating the additional business. What are you gonna do? Let's talk your game plan and maybe what's worked for you so far
Mhm.
for creating business for yourself.
Yeah. Again, I don't know if I'm the gold standard in all of this, because it truly has been almost, I would say, 95% sphere with what I produced. And then the 5% would be the military program that I'm actively part of right now and trying to grow, and hoping that will um, get larger here as I plug into that and invest more time each year. Um, so yeah, it really has been the sphere. And I know that sounds crazy, but I'm from here. Thankfully, we've got all these connections. And a big thing for me is just staying connected with people without expectation. I know I've mentioned
Mm.
this before, and just how I connect with people weekly, whether it's going for a cup of coffee, meeting up for lunch. If you looked at my calendar, you would see at least one appointment with somebody every single week. And it's just to check in and stay connected without, again, expectation at all. But it's good to build a relationship.
So how do you do that? Are you the one that initiates and says, "Hey, it's been a while, let's go to lunch"? How
Both,
do you
both.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, friends will reach out, "Hey, let's get together." Yeah, I try to take the initiative also and say, "Hey, let's meet for coffee." It's I've been told, well, it was, gosh, years and years ago, and again in the sales training, have your people list. Like, have a list written out with the people that come to your mind that you want to have over for dinner or that you want to have for lunch. And it, it sounds kind of icky, like, oh, what are you trying to do? Like, then sell them, whatever. You know what I'm trying to say? I can't even bring my
Yeah.
words to it. It sounds like you have these strings attached, but that is not it at all. You're building relationship. People know you, they like you, they trust you. When it comes to the big decisions in life, they're going to call you because you took the time to cultivate a relationship with them, strictly just to be friends. So,
So what you're saying right now is probably the thing that the mom that's listening is that that drunk monkey, if you will, in their head of like, this is why that strategy is not gonna work for you because, um, do you really want your friends to think that you're using them for business?
mhm.
Or do you want people to think that you have this ulterior motive? So that stops that mom from reaching out, the agent from reaching out to their past clients or, well, maybe not so much the past clients, but their friends and family. It's just like you said, it just feels kind of icky. So how did you get past that? And you mentioned earlier, I think that it's probably sums up do it without expectation, and then you
Mhm.
won't feel icky, but how did you get past that point? And then how do you bring up real estate, if at all?
Yeah, it's tough because you don't want them to feel that way, but at the same time, I think they're going to know. I think people can tell, and I don't bring it up. If they have a question, they'll ask. And I'd say probably every family get together, somebody at one point asked me, "Hey, how's the market?" And if you
Mhm,
want to open up that can of worms, I'm here for it. I'll tell you all about what's going on, but I'm not going to bring that up. If we talk about how life is going, people want to talk about themselves, and when do people have an opportunity to really sit and talk about what's going on in their life? So if you go in with that mindset to really get to know whoever it is that you're sitting across the table from, then that speaks volumes, and they're not going to feel like you're trying to get their business or something like that. It's a natural byproduct of forming a true authentic relationship. So I'd say, yeah, I was reluctant in the beginning because I've never wanted to be that type of realtor, and we already have a stigma that we have to combat against oftentimes
mhm.
because there are agents who are like that. But I think if you're very intentional and you truly have an interest in connecting with people and getting to know people, um, then let them bring it up. They will at some point. Don't bring it up at all. They'll see it. They'll see your content.
Mhm, that's right, that's exactly right. So,
Their choice to consume it. Mhm.
I will say, I think it's an easier transition or an easier thing to do if you've always been like that. So,
Mhm.
Joy, I'm just assuming you probably had your list of people that you always kind of rotated and took to lunch or coffee, and am I wrong? Like, before you got into real estate, were you pretty good at staying in touch with everybody?
I've got my core people. Yes, for sure. There are a lot of new ones, a lot of new friends that I've been able to make, which is great through church and other things. But yeah, I definitely have my core group, and they are your biggest advocates too.
Mhm.
They know you better than anybody else, and they're going to tell everybody to call you. So that's been my exact experience, especially this year. It's been amazing.
It's so important to have that group of people, and as a introvert myself, um, what I'm finding, especially this year, is that it's important to have friends. And it's okay to put yourself out there and to open up and to be vulnerable and not to always be. For me, I've always just been business, and even you and I kind of got to talk at Abundance Conference and have real conversation. And I think sometimes we forget that this is
Mhm.
a relationship business and it's not all business, not all transactional. It just can't be. So if you lean into that, then this business becomes so much more rewarding.
Yeah, and then maybe ease into it. So for the introverts out there, it seems daunting, like, "Oh my gosh, like once a week, I just want to stay in the office and get work done and be productive." I have
Yeah.
those moments too, but I think if you maybe go once a month and then maybe do every other week or something like that, even if it's just a quick cup of coffee, that's great. But at the end of the day, I mean, that's everything. No matter what you go through in life, and then, with business, it's just your people, it's everything.
hmm Something that's helped me, I actually created a Calendly appointment type for lunch or coffee, and I will just kind of send out a mass text. I mean, it's like a copy and paste type text where I don't have to put a lot of like creativity into it. It's just, hey, it's been a while. I'd love to get together. And then I send them my link and then they can schedule. And then it's just like it's on my calendar. If it's on my calendar, I'm gonna do it. Right. That's how I am. But if I have to plan it and talk to people one by one, and it's a lot less likely to happen. So
Mhm. Yep, that's true.
well, Joy, thank you for being on today. And just recap real quick, how can the moms that are listening, how can they send you business and what area do you serve?
Yeah, so gosh, I would say Phoenix, all the surrounding cities. So I know most people don't know West Side and the East Side, but just Phoenix as the epicenter, and then all the surrounding cities. They can find me on Instagram, AZ Homes with Joy, dual meeting there. But yeah, I am happy to take them on. And one of the rules of thumb, back again from my previous experience, was to treat your clients like family. And if you do that and you continue to do that, you'll have more business, truly, because they trust you like you are the go-to person. So you just have to
Yes.
give it time and let it grow.
Yes. Awesome. Congrats on your success, Joy. I love hearing that your business has doubled. And hopefully we can have you back on next year and you can report the same. So, especially with your new help.
Oh yeah, I know. I know. I need to get on that. So thank you, Jessica. It's good to see you as always.
Bye, Mega Moms.